Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting webinar from Evergreen Digital Tech Solution. My name is Jacinta Zabikwa, and I'm one of the founders of Evergreen Digital Tech Solution. So today, we've brought an exciting project to you. As a data analyst, you would always want to know how you can analyze for a business to be able to find out, when their customers are leaving, what's making their customers to leave. And, when you are able to discover this, you can give the company good insight on how they can retain these customers. As we all know, retaining your customer is much cheaper than getting new customer. And every thriving business would like to know how to retain their customers. So we have Mr. Daniel today. He's going to be showing us how to create a customer churn dashboard with a bank data. So if you haven't downloaded your data, please click the link in the description box and download it right away. Mr. Daniel, we're excited to have you here. Over to you, Mr. Daniel.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here with you guys today as we embark on this insightful analysis. We'll be working on like she said, a very important problem that every business encounters, every organization encounters, and that's customer churning. Or you could use attrition as well. So the reason why this is so important is because it's something that every business goes through, right? And before we even dive into this project, we need to understand what churning is, and we'll go from there. Okay. So whenever you hear the word churn, whenever you hear the word attrition, basically means the rate at which customers leave an organization or a business. And the customers are the driving force of every business and organization, and stakeholders are trying their possible best in order not to lose these customers. Why? Because the loss of customers could lead to fall in stock, fall in revenue, profits, and everything that's all the necessary KPIs that shows that a business is thriving. So as a data analyst, if you have the ability to trace, to find the root cause of, because this project is going to be a root cause analysis, so we're diving deep to find out the reason why these customers left. So if you have the ability to pull out all of these insights for your stakeholders, you become very invaluable, because by pulling out the reason why customers left, you can prevent future occurrences, which in turn strengthens the business. So we're working on this project today, and we will be working on it with a bank data, simulated bank data set. So just like every other thing, it's going to be more analysis focused, but of course we're going to come up with a simple dashboard to visualize our insights and recommendations. Okay. But before anything, we need to first of all understand the problem we're trying to solve, because every data analysis project you work on, there's something we call the data analysis life cycle. And it's like a step-by-step way that you as an analyst should follow to understand and be able to come up with actual insights to solve the business problems. So what's our business problem? What's our problem statement? The problem statement here is, you can see right there, this is it. So in recent months, we've noticed that a growing number of customers are closing their accounts and walking away. So that's the main problem. Customers are leaving. Over the last year, customers are leaving. So we're trying to find out why they're leaving. Is it that they're unhappy with our services? Are they competitors winning the hearts of these customers? So we are to uncover the patterns, right, behind the customer churning by digging deep into areas like customer demographics, behaviors, complaints, satisfaction scores, and then product usage. Okay, so we'll be finding out who is leaving, why they're leaving, and what we can do to keep them. Okay, so over the course of this project, there are some questions here that will help us, which covers the range of this basically. And we'll answer some questions here. We'll just do like an investigative analysis. And at the end of the day, before we even dive into those analyses, there are some KPIs we need to track, right? So for anyone who doesn't know what a KPI is, KPI also stands for key performance indicators. These are metrics that you track to ascertain the strength or the performance of each business. And different businesses across different niches have different KPIs. So the ability for an analyst to, because there are times where your stakeholders don't even know the KPIs that to track. There are times where you're required to suggest the KPIs to track. And in this case, we're tracking some key KPIs. These are a number of them, but majority of them are not here. Okay. So now that we've understood the KPIs, what KPIs are, the problem statements, and how we'll be going about it, let's quickly jump into Excel. Okay. So right here, right now, we have our data sets. I believe everyone should have a copy on here. And basically, it's a simple Excel data set, right? It has a number of columns, I think roughly maybe 17, if I'm not mistaken, 17 to 18 columns here. And we're going to quickly go through these columns before we dive into the analysis. So at the beginning here, we'll have what we call our customer ID. It's our primary key of this data. I'm going to zoom in a little bit in case it's a problem for people to, on the other end, to see. So looking at this, we'll be working on this data set, and this right here is our customer ID column, which is our primary key. And what are the two constraints the primary key column has? Number one, we need to make sure that there are no duplicates. And number two, we need to make sure that there are no null values. So how do we ascertain the data quality? Because it's very important. You just don't jump into analysis and just start summarizing your data or applying statistical techniques to achieve your results. You need to make sure that the data you're working with is clean and is accurate before diving into the analysis. So I'm going to do a quick column profiling of the data set we have here. If there's a need to clean up or if there's a need to do any additional transformation, we'll quickly do that before we push it into our pivot tables. Okay. So the first column we have here is our customer ID column. And the two things I'm going to check for is if, number one, there are duplicate values, and number two, if there are empty cells here. So right here, how do you get this? I know on your end, I already pushed it into a table format. But if peradventure your data was not in a table format, you can either use your Ctrl-Shift-L to trigger a sort of filter, or you can use your Ctrl-T to push it into a table, which is very important. And may I forget, I actually forgot that. Even before we do this, always make sure you have a duplicate somewhere, right? A copy needs to be somewhere so that in case you're performing any form of analysis, you end up deleting or taking out data due to your cleaning process, you always have an original copy to reference. Okay, so that's a very, very important step, even before you start cleaning. I'm going to quickly check using our sort of filter. It's a very good and very simple tool here on Excel that helps you have like a quick glance at the content in each column right here. And two things I'll be checking for. Let's quickly check for the first one. So how do you check for duplicates? There are multiple ways, but the fastest way I use is just to highlight everything. You go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and you say duplicate values, right? And you click OK. So if there are duplicate values, how do you get them? Very simple. All you need to do is to come down here and you check. If you see the option filter by color, right? Or if you hover by sort by color, and there's actually colors for you to sort by, they're duplicates. But if they are not, then you know they are not duplicates. All the values are unique. Okay. And the second thing I need to check for as well is if there are null values in this column. First things first, when you're working with Excel and you apply this sort and filter or your table panel there, if you check, usually you would see blank at the top. So if there's an empty cell. For example, let me take out this H right here. Right. If I come down here, immediately, okay, let's see. So if I scroll down, I think, let's see. If I scroll to the end, you're going to see blank there, right? You're going to see blank there because there's an empty space. So that's the logic we're going to use here. So we can quickly scroll down to the ending and let's see if there are any blank cells. And from that analysis or from that quick check, you can see here that there are no empty cells. So this column is good. So we're going to quickly check this as well to make sure everything is in order before we dive into the analysis. Looks good. Our credit score, we should be looking at for a range, roughly 200 to 999 is within the range. Geography, we'll have France, we'll have Germany, we'll have Spain. Okay, that also looks good as well. So for the gender, we'll have male and female on there, which is also good. And then the age, of course, if you're a 5-year-old or you're a 150-year-old, I don't think you need a bank account. So we should also make sure we check to make sure that the age ranges are good. So we'll have between 18 to 92. Right? We'll have between 18 to 92. And then for the tenure, we'll have between 0 and 10. Right? What's the tenure? The amount of time in which our customers have been with us. So for this age bracket, you can say, okay, fine. Let's add another column. Let's call this age group. Right? So we're going to use a switch function here to try and group this age into multiple groups. Now, let's say between we're equals to switch. We're going to use the switch function. You can use your ifs, you can use a nested if, but I'll just use switch because it's the best one, in my opinion. And our expression, we're going to use true because everything we want to write here, we want to make sure that it is true. So what's our value? 1. So I would say if the age group is greater than or equal to 70, what I want to do, I want to put in very old, right? To put very old right there. Okay, if the age is greater or equal to, let's use 50, then I want to put old. If the age is greater or equal to 35, right? If the age is greater or equal to 35, then let's put, you can put middle age. And finally, anything that falls out of this category, we just say young, right? I'll close this and I'll hit enter. You understand? So just like that, we've created an additional column that groups this age into different categories. Now, this is the function right here. I'm going to leave it on the screen for 3 seconds before we move on to something else. Okay. All right. So we have our age group right here. So we have our tenure. We'll leave it as it is. We've gone through that. And then for the balance, this is the account balance they have currently for each customers. That looks good. The number of products they're subscribed to is 1 to 4. Now, you need to pay attention to these kinds of columns here. They look as though they're numerical, but they're not, right? These are binary encoded details. So for example, what does this mean? That means whenever you see 1, yeah, you check in here, you see that you have 1 and 0. Okay, so these numbers are not numerical, rather they are categorical, although they are shown as numbers. So don't get that confused. Okay, so you can't sum up these numbers, rather you count. You understand? You check for the frequency distribution. Okay, so this has credit card. Whenever you see 1, what does that mean? That means the person has, or that's a true. Whenever you see 0, that's a false. Okay. So looking at this, does the person have credit card? It's 1 and 0. Whenever you see 1, that means the person has. Whenever you see 0, the person doesn't. The same thing is applicable here as well. So is the person an active member? If you see 1, yes. If you see 0, no. These are the estimated salaries. Estimated salaries. And then the data is relatively clean, to be fair. But you can check just to be sure. Exited, which is our primary key for this analysis. We want to find out if they're still with us or if they are gone. So looking at this, you see I also have the 1 and 0. So whenever I see 1, that means the person has left. Whenever I see 0, that means the person hasn't. Have the complaint, as the person complained before. Have the satisfaction score, which is ranging from 1 to 5. We'll have the card type, and finally the points earned. Okay, so this is our table. This is the data we're working with. So now that we're sure the data is good enough for our analysis, it is cleaned properly. The next thing we'll be hopping into is we're going to be pushing this into a pivot table. So how do you do that? You go to insert and you go to pivot tables and we push it in. Now, I made a mistake. I'm going to delete this because I missed something I'm supposed to tell you guys. Now, before you push your data into a pivot table, right? If it's in a table, you don't have to specify the range. Automatically, it's going to get that range for you. So go to insert and you click on the pivot table right here. Now, pay very close attention. Of course, it's going to be in a new worksheet, right? But make sure you tick this, add this data to the data model, right? Make sure you tick this, add this data to the data model, because immediately you do this, what happens? You actually are going to trigger what we call a power pivot in Excel. So what is a power pivot? Power pivot is a kind of Excel package that allows you to do more, to beyond your normal pivot table. Example, you can create modeling, dimensional modeling. You can create a star or a snowflake schema where you can pull in data from multiple sources across multiple tables. You create your relationships and you can analyze all of them at once as if they were one. That's one of the uses of power pivots. Another use case you can use this for is you can actually use DAX measures. Okay, DAX stands for data analysis expression, and it actually gives you like a superpower. You know, if as a data analyst and you're using Excel, which most times you will, and you're not leveraging the power of DAX, then you're missing out on a bit. So these are some of the things that comes together when you add this data to your data model. I set mine to be on by default, so you can play around with your settings to get this. Okay, now I'm going to click OK, and a new sheet will appear. Okay, a new sheet will appear, and this is going to be our pivots table, right? What are pivot tables? Pivot tables are tables that you use to summarize data. They are your primary tool together with your functions, formulas, and in this case, DAX to perform high quality analysis. Now, before we even dive into our analysis, we need to first of all specify our KPIs. Okay, we need to specify our KPIs. So I'll just do this here. Let's make this bold. Okay. And we can increase the size a bit. So we're going to quickly specify our KPIs, okay? And we'll be using DAX measures for this. You could use your normal aggregations. You could use calculated fields if you want, but I'll be using DAX. This is an opportunity for you guys to learn something for those who are not actually using it. You understand? So we're going to create a couple of measures to calculate the key performance indicators. So the first thing we'll be looking out for, I'm really sorry if I'm at a high pace, but I'm trying to make sure we cover everything. But I'll slow down when we get to a point, okay? Now, how do you calculate this KPIs? Well, because maybe we get our KPIs done, it's fairly easy to analyze. You'll see how easy and streamlined it's going to be, okay? So you come here to your table, you right click, and you click on add measure, right? So this thing is going to pop up right here. And in the measure name, we can give it whatever name you want to give it. So in this case, we want to have our total customers, right? I want to have our total customers, okay? So in this case, what we're going to do, we just want to count the total number of customer IDs, right? That's what we're counting here. So there are a number of ways you can do that. Since we've already confirmed that there are no duplicates, you can just use your count DAX to do that. If you're unsure if there are duplicates, you can use your distinct count, or you could use the count rows if you're sure. So any of these three options is going to work. I'm going to use the count rows, right? I'm going to use the count rows. So what does this count row function do? It's a very simple function. Like the name entails, count rows. It just counts the number of rows on the table. Okay. So I'll say count rows. So since it is counting the number of rows in the table, we are not specifying any row. Rather, we are pushing our table. So you can see it there, count rows. The name of our table is customer churn records. Do you understand? So that's one of the counts. And I'll close it. I will check if the DAX works. If you're not sure what you're doing, and you click OK. All right. So I'm going to name this analysis real quick. Analysis. And if you're feeling fancy, you can actually add colors, tab colors. If you're feeling fancy. Okay. So now, what's the next thing? Right. I can quickly check. So I can drag that measure. You can see right there, total customers, and I can push it in here to see if it's working. All right. So of course it is working. Okay. So the next things I'm going to quickly calculate, I can come here and I will say new measure, and let's also get the retained customers. So how many customers are there in the company or in the bank currently? So that retained customers will be using the function called calculate, right? For those of you who are not familiar with the calculate function, what it does basically, it uses or it changes the filter context of everything, of every calculation. What do I mean by that? By default, this total customer calculation here, what it did was it took into consideration every row, okay? But if we want to find out those that's still with the bank, what do we need to do? We need to filter out this total customers calculation to the point where it takes into account the customers where they exited is equals to 0. Hope you guys remember that. So how do we do that real quick? I'm going to use the calculate function. So it calculates, open bracket, it's going to add to an expression. So you could write out this expression yourself, or you could reference the expression you modify. So in this case, I want to modify the total customers. Okay. I want to modify the total customers. So I'll go total customers. I'll hit comma, and it's going to ask me for my filter. So in this case, I'll say, okay, fine. For every row you're counting, check if the exited, right? Check if the exited is equal to 0, right? Check if the exited is equal to 0. Okay, and you can quickly check. Of course, it's working. I'll copy this and I'll hit OK. All right. We also need to know the number of customers that have left the company. Okay. So to do that, it's just the opposite. So I'm going to call this churn customers. Right? I'm going to call this churn customers, and here I'll paste that same function. Right? The only difference we'll be changing here is that instead of our filtering context being customer exited from 0, we're going to change this to 1. That's the only thing we'll be changing there, is 0 to 1. When you start writing DAX measures, you realize that a lot of these DAX measures, you just need to change a chunk or a portion of your code, and it's actually going to run. So you need to learn how to reuse code to work faster. Okay. So you can see our measures right there. We have 3 at the moment. We're also going to add 2 more measures. We need to find out the rate at which they're leaving and the rates at which they stayed, and also we'll find out the average tenure and the average satisfaction. Okay, so those will be our KPIs for now. We could add more if you want, like balances and all, but these are the ones I'm choosing to go with. So we're going to check our retention rate. Our retention rate is very simple. It's just the part we want to check the rate for divided by the overall. So you can use the divide function for this. So we want to divide retained customers, right? That's what we want to do. We want to divide retained customers, comma, by. I want to divide retained customers. So these DAX measures on the drive, if there's, I think you guys have a copy of this final work I did, so that you can copy out the DAX measures to try on yours if you have any issues. Okay, so this is the retained customers, comma. We want to divide this. Our denominator will be total customers. Remember, we're calling the past measures we've written. You don't have to write all of this from scratch. If you have a function that gives you what you want to use in another function, just call that function and you can perform the calculations. Okay. So we'll have our retained customers divided by our total customers, and we can just add 0 as an alternate result in case it doesn't work. We'll check this. You can see there's no problem. I hit OK. I will add another measure. This will be our churn rate. This is going to be our churn rate. Okay. So still the same thing, divide. But I will divide this time around our churn customers. Right? Our churn customers by, comma, our total customers again, comma, 0, and I'll close this up. Still see it's working. Now we need 2 functions. So I can come here and I can say we'll call this average satisfaction, right? And this is a very simple formula. It's just going to be the average of satisfaction. That's all. Average of satisfaction score. And we could add average tenure. It's going to be average, right? Average of our tenure. Okay, let me close the bracket real quick. That's good. If you want to add, let's just add one more for the sake of it. We don't have to use it. This will be average age. Average age, and this is going to be still the same average function, age, right? We'll close this. It's working. We'll click OK. Now to quickly pull out all of these values, all I'm going to do is to pull this. So you can arrange this like this. Looks good, right? So the next thing I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on this, and I will change to percentage to decimal places. I'll click on this, and just to decimal places. It's ideal. Okay. So you can see, looking at this, you can see that we'll have a total of 10,000 customers. We've retained 7,962 over the past year, which is a retention rate of 679.62%. And we've lost 2,038 customers, which is over 20% of our customer base, which is a problem. And you can see the average satisfaction is just above average, which is 3 over 5. Average tenure is 5 years, and average age is 38.92 of our staffs, of our customers. Okay, so this right here is our KPIs, and everything we'll be building will be around this. Okay, but we could add some things. Let's see. Let's just spice it up a little bit. Okay, so one minute. Let me copy out the function. I'll paste it right here, and I'm going to tweak it. Right? I'm going to tweak it. Now, basically, what does this function do? This rep function gives us the ability to repeat something, right? Based on a logic, right? Based on a logic. So again, this will be there for you guys. So basically what this does is, right? Repeats this star, right? You can see the text. Repeat the star. What is the number of times we want to repeat this, right? Want to repeat this, right? Want to repeat this. If int this is integer, right? This is integer, so I want to wrap it up. So if this, in this case, I'm going to reference this. Okay, let me quickly reference that real quick. No, not the age, sorry. I'll be referencing the satisfaction. Sorry. Let's see what else. So basically, we are running on very limited time. So what I will do is I will document this for you guys. Okay, these functions, I will document all the functions, and I'll come up with a document so you understand how each and every one works. Okay, but this is how it is. And when you get access to the sheet, when I'm done, you will actually just copy and paste. So basically what I want this to do is just to give me like a 3-star. Can you see? So if it's 3.5, so if I change this to 3.5, you'll see there that would change to the 3.5. Okay, so this just add a little bit more to our data. And another thing we'll be doing here real quick is we'll be doing something similar to for this. I'll paste this right here, and I'm going to replace this with this. I'm going to replace this with this. So what this does, right? This is basically like a progress bar. You understand? And we'll be using this as well. Again, I'm going to explain this code for you guys. Don't worry, every code I use, I'll document it for you guys so that it's going to be easy for you guys to catch up. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here as well. And I'll be replacing this with this. and this with this. Okay, so you can see, right? This is just to add a little bit more context to the data, our KPI cards, basically. Now, we are done with this. So what am I going to do? I'm going to quickly just, right? I'm going to apply a fill here. Could be any color. Could be any color. That's a dirty green. I don't like it. Let me use this. Okay. Basically, what I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to tidy up, right? I'm trying to tidy up our analysis sheets because it can get very easy to have like a convoluted space where everything is all over the place. But by creating these barriers, it just adds a little bit more, you know, adds a little bit more. Just makes it neat, basically. Okay, just makes it neat. So now we're going to kick off with our analysis right here. It's going to be okay. All right. At this point, I hope everything is in order. Hope everyone can hear me. Let me be sure.
Yes, Mr. Daniel, we can hear you.
I'm still having PTSD from yesterday, so I want to be sure.
Yes, we can hear
Yeah.
you. We can hear you.
Okay.
And everyone, please feel free to comment. If you have any questions, share it on the comments. We're going to check it out before Mr. Daniel leaves. So if you're having any difficulty or anything, just share it on the comment. And if you've not subscribed, please do that now. Subscribe to this channel, right? That's the only way that you can actually appreciate what we do. And as usual, we always encourage you all to replicate this dashboard, follow everything he's doing, and then you post it on your socials, tag us and tag Mr. Daniel, the creator of this project. So let me go back to the background. Over to you, Mr. Daniel.
All right. So thank you very much. Okay. So let's carry on. This in 30 minutes or less, we'll be done with the analysis and we'll focus on, I know, the fun parts, which is the visualization. I know. Okay. So let's just quickly blow through the analysis, okay? All right. So basically, what we'll be doing here is we'll have our KPIs and can just blow through. Okay, so I will come here and I will say, okay, let's quickly check. So demographic, right? Make sure your analysis page is nice, it's neat. You understand? Okay, so the question is, we just go customer demographic. So we can kick off with, I can say churn. Let's find out churn by age. Okay, churn by age. You could, if you want, just to make it a little bit nice, you could add some sort of coloring, the background. You could use this one, right? So what am I going to do? I'm just going to pick, it can be anyone, but because you are focusing, remember we're focusing on churn analysis here, I'll be picking up this pivot table right here. For the entirety, to be fair, this is one pivot table. So I'll just copy everything. Okay, Ctrl C. I'm going to paste it right here. I'm going to take out everything and I'll leave an out churn rate there. So basically, we'll be performing two types of analysis here, right? We want to see there's a correlation. So the older our customers get, do they tend to live more? And then we'll also see what age group lives more, okay? In order for us to do that, I'm going to quickly pull in our age and I'll drop it right here. So just like that, you can see here that all of the ages and their respective percentage of churn is right here. Okay, so I can quickly come here. I want to pivot table options. Just turn off we don't want any totals, so turn them off. turn them off. So we need something clean like this. Okay, if you want, you can change the color of this. It doesn't really matter. We could use this, right? So looking at this, we have like a group of numbers here, but what does it tell us? We don't really know what it tells us. Okay, so quickly, we're going to get our correlation coefficients. So what's going to be the correlation here? We're going to use the correl function, right? We're going to use the correl function, and we're going to push in all of the age with the churn rates, and I'll hit enter. And just like that, we'll have a correlation coefficient right here. Okay, we'll have a correlation coefficient of 0.50. I'll tell you guys what that means. Okay, so I'll also come here. I'll quickly duplicate this as well. And then we can put this right here. This time around, instead of the age, I'll replace this with the age group. Okay, and you can see here. So we're pulling out insights here. Okay, but we'll visualize it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to reference this out, because let me check. I think you might not need to for a scatter plot. Let me see. Let me see real quick. Let me confirm. Let me confirm real quick. I don't think you need to reference it out for scatter plots. Let's see. XY scatter. And you do. You do. So let's quickly reference this value out. So it's just equal to, drag this, and you drag it down as well to reference it out. And I'll tell you the reason why. So we'll come back to this, by the way. Don't worry. We'll come back to this. So this is the churn by age. All right. So the next set, since we're still on demographics, you can also come here. I will say, okay, fine. Let us check. Okay, let us check the churn by geography. We want to find out if I've gotten the insight I need from what age group. Let's also see if location is a contributing factor to customers living. Okay, customers living. So I can just grab this right here, Control C, and I'm going to put it right here, Control V. Okay, I'll drag this out and I'll replace this with geography, right? But we're not done, right? We're not done. I want to do something a little bit more. So what do? I'll say, okay, fine, we'll have the churn rate, but let's also find out how many customers were in these locations, okay? I'll drag in the total customers. So you can see here that despite funds having the most population, it is having the least churn. You understand? Because sometimes a value or a number on its own will tell a story, but by the time you merge it with other corresponding values, you will get something entirely different. Okay, we're still not done. We also need to find out the raw numbers as well. So we have our churn, the total customers, we have the churn rates. Let's also get that in values. So you can see, right? So by having something like this, it makes it really, really nice for analysis. Okay, well, we are not done because we'll be visualizing this as well. So I'm going to quickly pull out. I'm going to pull this out, right? I'm going to pull that out for our visual, and I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to pull this out as well. Okay. Then finally, I'll come here and we're going to have the highest churn. highest churn, and then we'll have the percentage. So to get this, we're going to use a lookup, right? We're going to use a lookup. We can use XLOOKUP, we can use index and match, but I think we're going to use XLOOKUP for this. So I'll go XLOOKUP. So I want to look up. What's our lookup value? Our lookup value is going to be the max. It's going to be the max of the churn, right? That's our lookup value. You can lock it down, but it's not necessarily necessary in this case. We are looking for this max. We're looking for the max here. You understand? And what do we want to return? We want to return the corresponding country. I will close this and I'll hit enter. And just like that, you can see that it has pulled up Germany for us. So the reason why I went an extra mile, I just don't want to reference the cell, or I just don't want to reference when we are building our dashboard. I don't want to reference PSSL, because sometimes your sorting and filtering can actually break your calculation. So it's best to just outright do this. And for us to get the corresponding percentage, we'll also use the XLOOKUP. But if I'm feeling nice, let me use index and match for this one. Let me use this opportunity to teach you guys. So our index, what's going to be our array? Our array is going to be this, all right? So what is going to be our row number? I'll say match. We're going to match. What's going to be our lookup value? Our lookup value will be the max of this, all right? And we are looking for this. We are looking for this here. And I will go comma. Then I will go 0 as the exact match. I will close this up. And I will hit enter. And you can see that it has given us our 32%. I'm sorry, this is just me flexing muscles at this time. So this is an opportunity. I did this intentionally so that you guys can actually play around with what XLOOKUP looks like, how it works, and also index and match. They do the same thing. Okay. So we have this churn by location. And you can see here, even if I decide to sort, so if I come here and I want to sort by largest to smallest, you can see that these things are not changing. Why? Because of the calculations behind it. Okay. All right. So still on demographics, do we have any other thing on demographics? We'll have the age, we'll have the gender as well, right? We'll have the gender as well. So I'm going to quickly analyze. I'm going to quickly analyze gender, our gender still on. So to get the churn by gender, our churn by gender, I want to also find out do males or females tend to live more. We know the age, we know the location. Now we also need to check for our gender as well. So it's very simple. I just need to grab this. You can see how easy it is. Why? Because I've explicitly written out all the parameters I'll be investigating with in my KPI. I can just slice and dice without even writing. I won't be writing any more code here. I'll paste this right there, and this time around, I'll take out the geography and I'll replace this with gender. Okay, I'm going to replace it with gender, and we can get the number of customers, right? So for once, we can have something like this. So we're playing around with this value right here. Okay, we're playing around with this right here. So this is basically that. You can see here that we have more males. Males are roughly 4.5% of our total customers, but the males are living 10% lesser than the females. So despite us having less male customers, the females are living more. All together, the females are living more. Okay. So we'll be discussing that, right? We're discussing that. So quickly we can use Okay. So if I want to add more context to this, have the codes elsewhere. So I can come here, right? I can come here. So we're going to use something called the concatenate function, right? So you can use concatenate, you can use text join or whatever. Doesn't really matter. So we're using concatenate. So basically what I want to do here, I want to say, okay, if I concatenate, right? Concatenate the female, right? Then I want to round up our churn rates, right? Multiply by 100 by 2. So just basically 2 decimal points. I want to also add a percentage at the end. Basically what I'm doing here, right? I said take this female, we're coming up with a very simple sentence. Take this female, add an this is it double quotation or is it apostrophe? I'm really sorry. Then we'll pass in the percentage right here. We're going to have something like this. And I can drag it down. Can you see? We'll have our male and we'll have our female here. I'll be using this for our visuals. Okay. So this right here, we are done with our demographics, basically. So the next set of analysis we'll be doing, let's also check, right? Let's also check. How about credit score? How does credit score influence? How does credit score influence? I can come here and I can quickly, so I can say churn. So how does credit score influence customer churning? Okay. All right. So how does credit score influence customer churning? So how do we do this? It's very simple. I'll just copy this thing here. In fact, I'll copy from here. I don't even need to write Ctrl C and I'll paste it right here. So I'll be replacing, so you could add age, just add a little bit more context. You could add age here, and then here will be credit score. I'm going to be replacing this age with the credit score. So I'll quickly take this out and I'll drag in credit score. Right? I'll drag in credit score. I'm going to have something like this. It's a lot, right? And the best way to see this is through visualizing the data on the scatter plots. You can't see what's going on here until it's on the visual. But the beauty about this is that if you know how to read the correlation coefficient scale and interpret it accurately, then this value here is going to help us. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to edit this real quick. It's going to be this, down, comma, down. And just like that, this is our correlation coefficient scale. I'm going to paste something for you guys to help you guys understand how this works. Okay. So this is what the correlation coefficient scale looks like. So you guys can go ahead and read this while I'm computing our values. Okay. I'm sorry, I'll be right back. Now, remember why we're copying all of this out. The reason why we're doing this here is because when we want to visualize, we can't, there are some charts that you can't visualize directly from a pivot table. Okay, so we'll have to do this right here. So the correlation coefficient scale, I'm trying to, in the next 1 hour or less, we should be done with this. I'm trying to move very fast so that we can complete everything. So what's the correlation coefficient? So correlation coefficient basically measures the strength and direction of the linear relationships between two variables. Okay, and it ranges from -1 to 1. And you can see how it is broken down and how it works. All of this will be there in the documentation, okay? All right, there's no time. I would have really loved to go into the details on how to work with correlation, covariance, and causation, but there's no time. So this will be here. This will be here for you guys. You can read while we continue the analysis. All right. So let's also dive in further. And then let's see. So I want to find out, right? I want to find out on average, right? The people tend to stay and those who left, right? The people who stayed and those who left. So basically average balance, average balance, average balance, right? Churn versus retained customers. So I'm going to need two DAX measures for this, okay? I'll quickly get them. It's very easy. So we're going to have average balance churn, right? Churn. So I'm going to use same calculate function. I'll go calculate. What I want to calculate, I want to get the average. I want to get the average of the balance, right? I want to get the average of the balance where the exited, customer exited is equal to 1. And I can change this here to a currency. I'll close this. I'll check. It's all good. I'll commit it. I'm going to write another measure as well. This will be average balance retained. And I'll paste the same. And I telling me I didn't copy it. I didn't copy it. All right, so I'm going to write it back again. So this is going to be calculate. What am I calculating? The average. The average of the balance, right? What is our filter? Our filter will be when exited is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. I'll close this. Check. It works. Change this to currency and you hit OK. I'll just quickly pick this up. I'll copy, Ctrl C. I'm going to paste, and then I'm going to take everything out. Right? I'm going to take everything out, and I'll drag in these two functions. So what can you guys see here? So churn and retain are the same thing, but there's something wrong. So this is average balance churn. Let's quickly look at those functions real quick. I'm going to edit. So for the churned, is the calculate of average balance where the customer exited is equal to 1. Okay, for the retained. Oh, sorry. Instead of equal to, I used minus. So that's it. That should work. And let me quickly confirm for the churn as well. Okay, cool. So you can see here that, funny enough, people that left tend to have, on average, more money than those that were retained. You understand? This is another valuable insight that surprisingly makes sense. I don't know, it doesn't. Okay, let's also see as well if so we're just investigating, want to find out the real reason why customers are leaving. Because there's sometimes where you'll be working, there's sometimes where you'll be working on an analysis and you will actually get to the that's the reason why this is happening. You understand? So we're investigating. If you go to a hospital, right, they'll check your blood pressure, they'll check your sugar levels. You understand? They'll be checking a whole lot of things. You get? So that's exactly what we're doing right here. You understand? We're investigating to find out the root cause. So we've not gotten that moment that tells us that, oh, actually, this is the reason why the customers are leaving. We're seeing some contributing factors, but when we get to that moment, you're going to know. So let's also check, the number of products, does it affect customer churn? Because some customers might not be happy that they're paying for multiple services, because it gets to a point where the number of products can be overwhelming, right? There can be different factors that might lead to that. Number one, maybe age. Older persons wouldn't like to have like running four services in your company at the same time. Simplicity and maybe cost might also be a problem. So we want to find out if this actually affects. So we'll also check, we'll go churn by. So I'll just duplicate. You can always duplicate your measures. I'll quickly drag in the number of products here. You can see we offer one minimum of one and maximum of four. Again, I'll also check how many customers are subscribed to which category, because we want to know which of them they prefer. And you can see here that majority of our customers fall, over 90% of our customers fall within the one or two products here. And let's also see the churn rate. How does it work? So if I check the churn rate, I'll push it in here. We're going to quickly change this to percentage. You can see that 1 and 2, where most of our customers are, the churn rate is relatively low. But you see 3 and 4, the churn rate is very high. So at this point, all of the customers that were subscribed to 4 products in our company, all of them left. And over 82% of customers on 3 products in the company left. You can see there's a 7% churn here and a 27% churn here. So these two are rough. This is below the overall churn, and this is just slightly above the overall churn, but these ones are far wide of the overall churn of the company. So this right here is a problem we need to tackle. Okay, but let's dive on. Let's keep on. Let's continue. All right. So we'll also check if tenure, right? So we'll also check if tenure. I want to also see like how long does it take before our customers leave? The ones that are leaving, are they new customers? Are they older customers? That's what I want to find out right now. All I need to do is just swap this out with the tenure. Can you see? Swap this out with the tenure. We can see 0 to 10, and we can see the overall churn rate. Right? You can see the overall churn rates. You can also go a step further if you need some statistical proof. I can easily duplicate this. I can duplicate this and I can paste it here. And this time around, we're just going to quickly get the correlation. All right, I'm going to get the correlation of this and this. And you can see we have 0 minus 0.42. In a nutshell, what does that mean? That means there's some sort of relationship in the sense that our older staffs, tend to leave less compared to the younger ones. Do you understand? We'll talk about this as well. We're getting some really nice insights here. But let's carry on. Let's carry on. So I can say, okay, fine. Is there anything here? No. I can block this out as well, just to maintain a little bit more. Okay. All right. So also need to check out a few more analysis. Want to also find out, okay, how about the satisfaction? We already know the average satisfaction, right? Want to find out if the satisfaction plays a huge role in our customers living, okay? So I can just copy this. I told you it's going to be relatively quick. I'll paste and I'll swap out the tenure for satisfaction score. That's all, right? That's all. I can see that irrespective of their satisfaction, they are roughly 2%. So you can see here that satisfaction doesn't really play that much of a role in our churn, in our customer churning. Okay, it doesn't really play that much of a role. Now, I wish I could communicate directly with you guys because we're nearing the end of this analysis before we dive into the visualization. And you're going to see why. Let's also see our churn. Churn by card type. Churn by card type. So let's also see if a specific card encourages customers to leave. Maybe your platinum or your silver, whatever. Again, all I need to just take this out and I'm going to replace it with the card type. And just like that, we have our analysis. Look here, you can see that it's roughly the same thing as well. So all of these metrics don't really add more. If you want to go a step further to explain this, I can just quickly push this thing here into a conditional format to try and see if we can get the patterns here. You can apply a color scale, right? You can apply a color scale, and right here, I can apply another color scale. Let's use the red. So by looking at this, you should already identify some trends and patterns. We'll talk about it, okay? You can do this for all of the rest, by the way, if you want, okay? It just helps to highlight, the patterns in the data. So finally, we'll check by card type and we'll check by complaints to wrap up our analysis. So we're going to check Churn by complaints and the card type. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is real quick. And I will quickly pick up exited and I'll put it right here. I'll put it right here. So are you seeing this? All right. This is our trigger, right? This is our major problem here. What's the problem? You can see here that's 1, which means yes. So basically everybody that's complained have left, right? Everybody that's complained has left the company. And about 25% of those that didn't complain stayed. So you can see here that our major problem is compliance, right? Our major problem is compliance. You can also add, let's just add for the sake of it. Let's just add active, right? Let's drag in. Let's drag in active. Okay. So these things can get is active member. They can see, right? So these are people that are not active. These are those that are currently active. You can see the people that are active tend to leave less compared to those that are not active. Okay, but if you look closely, this is our biggest problem here. This is our biggest problem, and you can see how we transform this insight into recommendations. Are you seeing it? This is our major problem here. We found the root cause, and the root cause of this is our customers are leaving. Okay, so we'll come back here. Let's quickly create a new sheet. Okay, I'm going to call this dashboard. We're going to call this dashboard. Okay, you can choose another color code if you like, or you can leave it as it is. It's not really necessary though, to be fair. Okay, when building a dashboard, there are a lot of things you should take into consideration. Number one, simplicity. Simplicity is of absolute importance. Okay, you need to simplify your visuals. You understand? You need to simplify your visuals. You need to make sure you visualize only the most important stuff. And you need to make sure your visuals are clean and, of course, very good looking. So the first thing I do is I go to my view. I will I'm going to turn off grid lines. I'm going to turn off formula bar, right? Formula bar. And we're going to have like a blank canvas right here. Now, I'm using a bigger screen. Do you understand? I'm using a bigger screen. And for those of you that are not using a bigger screen, you can take this down to maybe a 60 or a 70%, depending the kind of screen you're using. But mine is big enough, so I'm going to be on 100. We're going to quickly build our wireframe. Okay, we're going to quickly build our wireframe. I think we kicked off. We're roughly an hour and 30 minutes in. I'm not quite sure. Okay, I'm really sorry, but we're going to just dive in right now. We're going to build a wireframe real quick, and mine will be at 100%. Make sure when you build a wireframe, you don't have to move down or move left and right to get the full picture. Okay, to get the full picture. All right. So I know most of you are here because of this, so please pay very close attention on how we can go about that. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to insert a shape. Okay, I'm going to insert a shape, and I'm going to fill it out. You can go as in-depth as you want, doesn't really matter, right? We'll be taking a screenshot of this. I'm going to have a shape, and I'm going to use this color code. Let me quickly grab it. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to click on format shape, and then I'm going to put in that color code right there. Right? And I'm going to click OK. So this is our color code. But I'm going to take the transparency to like maybe 60% or 55%, right? We're going to have something like this. Okay, so let me show you what I have as a reference. So I know we have something in mind, but I'm thinking of taking elements from this. I think I like this. So we're taking elements from this to help us out. So in order for us to do that, if I want to use this exact colors, what is the exact colors? I could use, I can just search color picker, right? And I always use red ketchup. That's my favorite one, and I can quickly upload that picture. and quickly upload that picture. So why? This helps us, right, pick the exact color we want. Okay, this helps us pick the exact color we want. I'm going to pick this up first of all, right? I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to duplicate this, Control C V, right? And I'm going to take this down to 0, right? If we want, we can add, right? We'll have that color. Let's see. Okay, we can have something like this, right? But I'm going to reduce this. I always tend to keep like a little bit of the border around. I don't know, it just adds a little bit of you understand? I just like it. I'm going to have something like this, right? This is going to be our first. This is going to be our first layout. Okay, it's going to be our first layout. Let me look at that picture once more. I'm going to have this on my second screen. Yeah, because that's what we'll be using. Okay, I'll quickly grab this color here. Control C. Okay. So I'll also duplicate CV. I'm going to duplicate and I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change the color of this to eyes. I'll quickly grab that color. I don't know why it's not copying. Control C. So let me quickly, let's try that out real quick. Control A, Control V. Yeah, we'll have our color. So for this, let me quickly grab the other color. Okay. So I'm going to drag this in here. I want to get this as close as possible. You can zoom in. You can zoom in if you want. So for the line, we don't want any line here. For this line, we don't want any line here as well. So you can push this. Okay, so this looks good. This looks good. I didn't want to go the curvy route because of time, because that would take us a fair bit of time to get the perfect angle. Okay, so we're going to have something like this. This is going to be our nav bar, right? It's going to be our nav bar, and then I'll just click this, and I'm going to align to the top. Okay, I'm going to drag this, Control C. Right? And we'll be using this color. All right. So we'll have something like this going on. If the edges are too thin, you can increase it. I think I overdid it a little bit. You can increase this a little bit. Right? So we'll have something like this. Do you understand? And we can add that shadowy effect if we want. I can come right here and then come to shadow and we can turn it on. Can turn it on. So the shadow effect is just there. Okay. All right. So looking at our dashboard, right? Let me show you the one we'll be recreating. We're just adding a little bit of touch to it. So the wireframe is something I've done in the past. It looks like this, right? It looks like this. So we already have a wireframe we can work with. You understand? We have a wireframe we can work with. So we're creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So I'm going to quickly insert. I'm going to quickly insert a text box. So I can say welcome, 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 bank, bank, customer, churn, analysis, dashboard. Okay, so we can have this somewhere here. We're going to format the shape. We don't want any line. We don't want any fill. Okay, we don't want any line. We don't want any fill. And we want to increase the size. So we'll make this bold. We can use this. We can increase this. And for this, the same thing. Bold. We can make this bigger. Right? We can make this bigger. And then for this churn, we can even make it bigger. Because that's what the emphasis is on. Okay. And then that might be too big. Maybe I'll just reduce it by okay. And then we'll be using a color that signifies what we so I'll be using the same color scheme, by the way. I have all of the color codes here, and you guys can also get it as well. Or better still, you can have your own scheme at it. Okay. So that right there, I want to use this color. We'll have something like this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to quickly duplicate this. Ctrl C, Ctrl Z, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I've duplicated this, and I'll quickly get the color. So this, in this case, is going to be a white. Ctrl C. And I'm going to paste it there. So this is the whites. I'm going to shrink this down massively. Okay, I'm going to shrink this down massively. This is going to be our KPI cards. So how many KPI cards do we have? Let me shrink this down. Okay, this might work. Let's see. Perfect. Control CV. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. I just hope it fits. Does it? And it does it. How many KPI cards do I have? Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll be using 5. All right, we're using 5. So I'm going to take this to the edge, right? And I'm going to highlight all of them. And I would say go to shape formats. Go to shape formats. And I want to align, first of all, to the top. And I want to distribute horizontally. Okay. Good. But this might be a little bit too open. So let's see. All right. I just increased them. So we'll have something like this here. 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do that again. I want to align top. I want to distribute horizontally. Okay, this is better. Okay. So I'll have our KPI cards. I'll copy this. I'll copy this and I think we'll have 1. And we'll have 2. Okay. And we'll have 2 right here. Probably shrink this a bit. And let's see, Ctrl X, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Ctrl CV. So this right here is going to be our wide. Going to be something like this, if I'm not mistaken. And then this is our wireframe, basically. It's going to be okay. Duplicates. I can just copy this. Okay. The sizes are not the same, but we'll arrange them. Okay. All right. So first things first, I'll highlight this two. I'm going to align to the top. Okay. This as well. I'm going to align to the top. Okay. And then I'll just duplicate this. Let me just close this one out. Okay. I think this goes down. Yeah. Okay, so I have the page, our wireframe for the first page. Let me mark this. Let me align to the bottom. What is it? Nope, that won't work. I want to shrink this down a little bit. All right. So the beauty about this is that our wireframe is done, and if you want to add more elements to it, you can. Okay, if you want to add more elements, you can. Say for example, if I go to my file manager, you can see here that I have let's see, if I want to add a search bar, right? I want to add a search bar, maybe right here. I can say, let me insert real quick. I'm going to insert a rounded corner shape, right? It's going to be, let's say here, a rounded corner. And I'm going to format the shape, and let's use white. And I don't want any line. We'll have something like this. Okay. You can decide how rounded you want it to be. As if also add a little bit more elements. Because of time, I will be doing a lot of beautification, but we'll be adding a few things, by the way. So we'll have maybe something like this here. With like a search bar. Duplicate this, Ctrl C, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Search. We can use maybe, let me highlight this real quick. We can use a smaller and a lighter shade. So I can take this on here and I can put it here. Okay. That might be a little bit too small, maybe one up or two up. And the color will be slightly darker. Okay. Then we'll quickly insert image we'll be using. By the way, you can download this from any icons website. So we'll be using this. Where are you? Get this right here. Yes, okay, there it is. I'll shrink this down. I'll shrink this down and I'll put it right here. Trying to get the absolute best fit for it. There won't be time for this. That's why I'm trying to rush up. Okay. So we'll have this. You can shrink this down a little bit. Okay. Can shrink this down a little bit. Ctrl Z. Let me get that shape. And okay. The dimension matters, by the way. So let's make it nice. And if you see something that you like, maybe you want to add, you don't have the time, you want to add things. Like now, if I go to my downloads, and if I go to my pictures, screenshots, what you will see this. Where are you? Yeah, where is that? There's something on here I would like to use. Okay, there we go. So you see the shape, right? This is the shape. If you want to use something like you just add a little bit more beautification, you can say, okay, fine, let's see if we can use a background remover for that. I don't know if it's going to work. But let's just go background. I'm just showing you guys a few tips you can use. Let's see if this will work. If it will take it out. I'm going to quickly upload that picture. And let's see if we can take out the background. We couldn't. We couldn't. So because we couldn't, you can maybe go online and you can get maybe a white background. Okay, you can go online and maybe get a white background. I'm going to create a placeholder for that. Okay, so Control C V. I'll just duplicate this and I'll extend it a bit. Okay, so I can just break this down so that I can mark both of this. Then I'm going to align to top. Okay, so there we go. So we'll have the placeholders for those two items up there. So let's quickly draft out our KPIs and let's get our KPIs done and let's just start visualizing. I want to be done in 30 minutes, in 30 minutes time. Okay. All right. So the first one we're visualizing, we're going to visualize. Let's start with the gender demographic. Okay. Let's start with the gender demographic. So basically what I want to visualize right here is we want to visualize, you know, the composition, right? The composition of both our male and females. So I can highlight this and I can insert this into, okay. I'm just quickly duplicate this, Control C, Control V. I just want this right here, okay? I'm going to insert this into, all right, so I'm going to insert this into the chart, okay? We're going to use a donut chart for this, okay? So we'll have this, I'll cut it, and I'll paste it right here, okay? I'm going to paste it right here. Whenever you're visualizing, make sure there's a little bit of room for your chart to breathe. You understand? Your chart does not have to be as big as your tile you have for it. So make sure you have like a little bit of room for it to breathe. Okay. All right. So here I'll right click and I'll say I'm going to hide all buttons and charts. I'm going to take this out. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn on the data labels. Right. I'm going to turn on the data labels. Right. I'm going to turn on the data labels. And then on the data labels, I'll right click to format the data labels. And I'll turn on the category name and their percentages. Okay, so I want this to be, okay, you're not done. The next thing I'm going to do real quick is I'll come back here. Make sure whenever you're plotting any chart on Excel, turn off your line of the chart, turn off the fill of the chart. Then you click on this and you turn off. You don't want any line. We're going to have this real quick. So for our female, I'll double click on this. I'll double click on this and I'm going to give her this nice color. And I'll double click on this. I will give the male, let's use our traditional color here. Okay, so we'll have our male and we'll have our female right here. Okay, then you can come here or we can have the title. So we can say churn customers, churn customers by gender. Okay, we want to move right here to this edge, but you can make this bold. You can bring this down a little bit, or you can change the color to maybe, okay, that's too light. We could use something like this. Okay, or rather, right? We could unbold this. So we'll have something like this, okay? But we are not done. Do you understand? We are not done. We've not even done our KPI cards. I will get to that. We're supposed to start from top down to the bottom, but we'll get to that real quick. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my formula bar, right? And then I'm going to insert the text box, right? I'll Control C, I'll click on that text box, and I'll come here and I'll go equal to, this is what I want to do. I'll come down to the analysis and I'll click on this, right? I'll duplicate. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because whenever I apply a slicer, I want this to change. Do you understand? So I can highlight the both of these. We don't want any line, we don't want any field. Okay, and I can shrink them. And we can drag them here. 1. One. If you want, you can make them bold. Right? And then I can just quickly duplicate. I can just duplicate this. Right? Take everything out and just say Control A, churn rates. So for the churn, we're going to use this color, our churn color. Okay. You see, it's going to play a crucial role down the line, and we can have this here. And just like that, we'll have our first charts. We'll have our first charts right here. Now, let's go back to our KPI cards. I'm going to quickly grab this. Right? I'm going to quickly grab this, and I'm going to reference our first, which is our total. Less darker. We don't want to use black. Okay. We'll have our churn customers right here. We just have the churn, retained, and churned, right? Basically. And we can just push this into a chart. We can use a bar chart, and we're going to use this. We're going to use something like this, right? I'll cut
Sorry,
this.
Mr. Daniel. Can you hear me, Mr. Daniel? Okay,
Yes,
we
I
lost
can.
you to slightly. So if you can just go back to how you created the last chart.
Which of them?
Just the last one, the last step that you just did now.
Okay, there was a network glitch.
Yes, just a little.
Okay. All right, cool. So I just wanted to add a little bit more visual appeal to our charts. That's why. If you check out my dashboards, you'll notice that I don't tend to use a lot of icons, but if you want, that's cool. It brings out the beauty. But today we wouldn't be using, but I will employ you to use one if you like. So basically, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create like a single bar chart that will show the number of customers and the churned customers. Okay, that makes up the total customers. And how was I able to do that? I just pushed in the retained customers and the churned customers in here. And I'm just going to push this into, we're going to use a stacked bar chart, 100%. Okay, this is what we're going to use. And we're going to quickly clean it up. Just take this out, delete it. You right click and you hide all field buttons on this chart. You take this out, you take this out, you take this out. So once it's clean like this, you format your chart area. We don't want any line, we don't want any field. Cool. Then on the retained customers, we're going to use this black. On the churn customers, we're going to use this. Okay, so we'll have like a bar here. What am I going to do? I'll cut this and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay. I'm going to paste this right here. I'll make it small, very small. And we can have something like this. Right? We can have something like this. So this is going to be like a bar just to show, okay, this is what's going on. Can extend and I can duplicate. I can call this Ctrl Z. I can call this take this out. Call this total customers. You highlight, bring this down, and you can use a more traditional black here. Let's see. All right, so you can see that works. Okay, you can adjust this. Just like that, we have our first KPI card. Right? So what am I going to do? I'm just going to mark this, and I'll Control C, and I'll paste here. All right? I'm going to paste here. Just for a little bit of padding, artificial padding, you can just push it in a little bit, okay? And this would be our retained. I don't like my writings being too close to the edge. This is going to be our retained customers. Right? This is going to be our retained customers. You understand? Our retained customers. Okay, and I'm just going to reference. I'm going to reference this. Know the number of customers. Okay, I can come here, format painter, and I'm going to paste it. No Control Z, I formatted the wrong one. All right, so I'll come here, format painter, and I'll paste it right there. I'm going to duplicate, and this time around, I'm going to reference. I'm going to reference this. Right? I'm going to expand this. I'm going to expand this. And let's try to see if we can increase. You understand? We can increase this a little bit. So have something like this, right? And I'm going to change the color to right. And I could copy this. I'll put it right here. And I'll reference the retention rate. Okay. Excel is a little bit manual. You have to fight with it a little bit. If this was Power BI, then it would have been way faster than this. So have something like this. You understand? Looks good. Right? I'll hold this, hold this, and this. Control C, Control V. Okay. Control C, Control V. You can adjust. Right. So in this case, this is going to be churned. This is going to be churned customers. And here we're going to use this color. I'm also going to reference this. I'll reference this. And I'm going to reference this. Okay. I'll mark this. I'll format painter. I'll drop it here. Or we'll be changing this color to this. Okay. I'll mark this. I'll format painter. I will drop it here. Or we'll be changing the color to this. I'll mark this. Format painter. And I'll drop it right there. And there we go. Are we together? So it's looking good. It's looking good. So the next thing we need here, we need to get our average. We need to get our average satisfaction. We need to copy this three. Control C. I'll paste it right here. This would be average satisfaction. Right? We could add 0 to 5. I'll quickly align to bottom. And I'll pick this up. Sorry. Catching this. Let's just drag it down a little bit. So I'll pick this up and our formats. And I did it again. So sorry. Okay. Formats. There we go. And we can just increase the size of this. Okay. If you want, you can change it to gold. You can quickly get the color code of gold. If you want. I'll say gold color code. Can pick this up here. Right? So we can have something like this here. And finally, we'll need, I'll just copy this. Control C, Control V. So if you want to add icons to this, you can, there are a number of them you can get them from. You can go to, just type icons on Google. You can get from my personal favorites. My personal favorites, I use flat icons. I use icon 8. I use free pick. Those are the three I use most of the time. So you can get corresponding icons. I think I'll add icons when I'm done with you guys. Then I will send over the I will save the final results for you all. Okay. So basically here, what we want here, we want to have our average age. I'm not mistaken. Average age, right? Average age, duplicates, average tenure. Align to bottom. So we can push this in as well, okay? And then our reference age. And I'll pick up our tenure. And I'll just drop it here. And this is what our KPI will be looking like. So if I close this, and you can see it's picking shape. All right. It's picking up shape. So let's just carry on building our dashboard. I need to pick up the piece very well at this point because I'm out of time. All right. So the next thing we need here is I'm going to quickly push this into the charts. So I'm going to use map, right? I'm going to use map. I'm going to quickly format this map. Okay. First things first, just like we did before, format. We don't want any line, we don't want any shape. And I'll click on the actual map itself. I'll come here and I'll say in the series option, show all, and the map area, show only regions with data. We're going to have something like this. Do you understand? And I'll quickly cut this. I'll paste it right here. Right? We'll have something like this. I'll come back to that. I will also visualize this. I'm going to use the bar chart for this. Right? The bar chart for this. Control X, and I'll paste it right here. Just like we did before. I'll take this out. Hide all. Take this out. Take this out. We don't want any line here. No line, no fill. Okay, no line, no fill. What else? We want to shrink this a little bit. Right? I'm going to add what we call legends. For these legends, I want to put them So we'll have something like this, right? And I'll turn on our data labels, right? Our data labels. So basically, for this, we want to use our traditional color. For this, our churn customers. I want to use this. And we can go ahead and make this bold. You understand? And for the same thing, we'll do here as well. So for Germany, Germany has the highest churn, of course. I can also drag this underneath. Sorry. I can move this to the bottom right here, right? And then, or we could take it out completely, make this bigger. And on Germany, I would use this because no matter what you do, that's going to be. So for the other countries, we could use, right? So for the labels, I can add our data labels right here. And we can try and make it bold. All right, together. If I want to go a step further, you can push in a chart, yeah, that shows I'm going to quickly overlap this as much as I can. It's going to look something like this. Okay. So we'll call this Churn by location. All right. So down here, we're going to pull in some correlation analysis, right? Some correlation analysis. So the first thing I'm going to push in here, I'm going to quickly create a churn for this, a chart for this. For this credit score, right? Credit score. I'll quickly insert. We're going to use XY scatter. And we're going to use this one right here. Okay. Control X. I'll paste it right here. Just like we did before. This. For this, since it's Churn, we're going to use we don't need the line, and you can turn on trend line if you want. And that trend line we can use maybe black for this. And this will be churn by let me see. This is churn by what's this the churn by credit score. Okay. It's churn by credit score. Churn by credit score. Okay. You can move it to the side if you want. But what I'm going to do, because of time, I'll be no fill, no line. Okay, cool. So the next thing I'll be doing here is I'll quickly grab this. I'll duplicate. I'll duplicate, and I'll bring it right here. And I'll be referencing the correlation coefficients, which is this. This adds a little bit more context. Make this bold. Make this bold, and you can increase it. Okay, so these are correlation coefficients right here, right? So you can go a step further if you want to be more, and add how credit score affects churn. Can make this smaller, right? It's going to look something like this. You can see how good it looks. But I'm going to save this. So you can save a template. So I'm going to save it as templates, and I'll call this churn. Right? Why? Because when I come here, and when I push this whole thing, inside a chart, I want to go straight to all charts, templates, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be this one. Okay, why is it looking weird? That didn't save properly. Recommended charts. Let's see again. Did it save? Okay, no, that's not it. Hold on, let me save. I'm going to save as a template. The churn is right there. Yes, replace. Let me insert. Recommended charts all. Templates. All right, so I'll just push it in. I don't know why that's not working, but we'll just push it in. I'll paste it here. And I'll also pick this. I'll quickly sort from smallest to largest. I'll cut and I'll paste it here. All right. I'll have to do the same thing over again. I'm really sorry. Well, in 20 minutes, we should be done. Okay. All right. So we don't need this. We don't need this. What else? I want to turn off the line. Turn off the line. I want to turn off the fill. For this, the markers we want to use our color. I want to turn off the line, and we want to add a trend line right here. And we can use this color. Okay. All right. Then we'll go churn. Right. Right. And finally, Control C. I'm going to duplicate, and I'll quickly pick this up. All right. Then for this, we'll just add this here as additional context to what. All right. So I'll take this out. We don't need that. Okay, we do actually for the title. We don't need this. Right? We don't need this. We don't need this. No line, no fill. We don't want any line as well. Right? We take this out and we can put it back in as labels. Okay. So can click on this and we don't want any line there. So it looks neat and clean like this. And then I can add. Okay, so let's carry on. So for this page, because if you remember when we're analyzing the data, you would realize that customers leaving, right? Customer complaining is the major reason for customer leaving. So what am I going to do? I'm going to quickly get the most important information in the front page. So that would be this. I'm going to highlight this, right? I'm going to highlight this. Oh, I could just go a step further and I could do something like this. Right? Percentage. And this would be, did they complain? No. Yes. And I can highlight this whole thing. I'll insert into recommended charts. Okay. Now we're going to use a combo chart for this. Okay. We're going to use a combo chart for this. Let me see. Let's see, recommended. What did he recommend? This is what we'll be using, right? This is what we'll be using. Okay. So just like before, you take this out. You take this out. Okay. For this, we'll be using this. And for this, we'll be using this. So let me quickly cut this. Okay. And I'll be pasting it right here. One minute, please. So now we'll have something like this right here. Right? If you want, you can make it a little bit slimmer. I like slimmer bars, but it's up to you. And I'll come here and I'll turn on, the data bars. Okay. And we could also turn on the data labels as well for these values. Okay, so you can say number of number of customers versus churn rates by compliance. Right, by compliance. Now you can use your title, right, as a means of adding like a label. So because I've been using this color for churn, the person can easily, sense that, okay, fine, this is what we're trying to say. Yeah, you understand? We can make this also bold as well. We can make the whole thing slightly smaller. Okay. Then finally on this page, now we're almost done. On this page, we'll quickly visualize this. Same thing. You hide all of this, right? Take this out. Don't need that. We don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. We don't need the fill or the line. So for this churn, you understand? And we can increase this a little bit, and we can add our data labels. Right? I'm going to also add a title. That title will help us add legends. So this will be average bank balance. Average bank balance. So this will be churn versus retained. I'll mark this, and for the churn, of course, the retained can be that color there. Okay, and just like that, we are done with our first page. Right, we are done with our first page. Of course, there's still a little bit more elements you can add to this. So, for example, I can insert, just to make it look nice, I can insert. You can download icons like, for example, logout, right? And I can put it right here. I can just shrink this down. All of these things are visual elements you can just add. Right? You can add this here, and you can just copy this. Control A. And you can change this to like a white. You understand? You can add all of these elements at your own time. We'll be focusing more on the analysis, but I would finish mine, and of course, you guys will have a copy to play around with. I'll do some finishing touches. But you can see how the first page is turning out. It's turning out really nice. And What do? I'll right click on this dashboard and I will say move a copy, and I'll say create a copy. You understand? So just like that, I've duplicated the dashboard, right? Since we'll be using the same KPI across both pages, the only difference is that I'll take out all of these things. We don't need this anymore. So our second page wireframe is what we'll be doing real quick. This will be very fast, to be fair. I'll take this out. I'll take this out. I'll take this out. So this will be we're going to have something like this. All right. So we can move this a little bit here. And this place will be for our insights. So for this, we'll have a solid fill. The fill will be this. Then the line, we can just add an accent right here. We're going to have something like this. We could increase this to 2.5. And if you want, you can add shadows. Not really a thing for me. Okay, so this is what the second page will be looking like. Oh, yeah, let's see. Page 1. Okay. This is page 1. This is page 2. All right, we're going to be really fast. We're going to be really fast with this. Okay, we'll be done in roughly 10 minutes. So what next? We'll also be visualizing a few more things. So what do we need? We need to visualize the churn rates and the number of products. So where is it? I will insert into a charts, combo charts, and we'll have something like this, right? We'll have something like this. So I'll take this out. I think this will make it very quick, very fast for us. I will hide all of this. We don't want any line. Okay. So we'll take this out. No line, no fill. For this, we want to use our color. For this, we want to use this color here. You can smoothen the line if you want. Right? You can smoothen the line if you want. And we're going to add a title. All right, we're going to add a title. So I'm going to save this. Right? I'm going to save as template. I think this will make it faster. So this is Churn chart. Churn charts. Okay. Control X. I'll be pasting it right here. So we'll have something like this. think I'll leave out those titles. You can add the titles on your own so that I can wrap this up. It's taking way longer than it's supposed to. I'm really sorry. So we'll have this, and then you can add you can add your labels there, right? You can add your labels as well. So the beauty about this is that if we want to do churn by card type, I can just come here. Here's the card type. I can just come here. I will highlight this. I will insert. I can go to templates and I can use this template here. And boom, just like that, we'll have it. Ctrl V. I'll be pasting it here. So we increase this. You understand? So we'll have something like this. But I want to do something, or I did something different here. Let's just spice this up a little bit. So I'm going to click on this line. I'm going to click on the line. And for the line, I would say no line. For the marker, I would say we're going to use built-in. And I'm going to click on, we use this one right here. Okay. And the size, let's just say 20. Okay, 20 or 30. 30 works. Okay, we don't want any line. We want a solid fill. I want to use this. And just like that, you can see, right? You can see, so I can click on this and I can say, okay, fine. Let's change this to the minimum. Let's change this to 0. The maximum, let's change this to 0.50, which is 50%. We'll have something like this. Do you understand? And I can click on this and turn on the labels. Okay, we'll have our labels there. Do you understand? For each. Do you understand? Okay, so we're going to quickly do for tenure and we're going to do for satisfaction. Okay, so for the tenure, real quick, here is the tenure. We have our tenure here. Let me quickly change the chart type to this. And Ctrl X, Ctrl V. We'll have our tenor here. Remember to give them the right names. Of course I will, and I will send a screenshot. You will check that later in the evening today on the same drive that you guys got the data from. You'll see a screenshot and also this copy that I worked on myself to get more hands-on. So here we can also change this a little bit. I will also start from 0 and 50, 0.50. Okay. And then finally, satisfaction. Same thing. And again, we'll quickly touch on this because this is kind of, it's blowing the actual effect out of proportion. So we will change the axis. So start from 0 and let's go 0 to 50%. This is more the reality. You understand? This is more the reality of it. So just like that, you can see that we are done with our charts. Just like that, we're done with our dashboard. Okay, it's looking nice, isn't it? By the time you add a little bit more elements all over the places there, then it's going to be really nice. So finally, this place is going to house our insights. I'm just copying it from my end. I've already extracted it. Okay, I think it's here. So please take your time to go through this, because at the end of the day, this is the main reason why we did this analysis, not just to build a dashboard. Okay. I don't think I'm feeling this. Maybe I can switch this to something. Okay. And then for visibility's sake, you can change this to white. Okay. And see these complaints, you need to highlight it, because that's where, you understand? Control C, Control V. This will be our insights. All right. And just like that, let me take this up to 100%. And let me turn off. What I need to turn off. You can see here that we'll have our dashboards. Same thing, 100%. Let me turn off everything as well. It's looking really nice. It's looking really clean. You can add some more elements here and here. But the final thing we'll be touching on here is we will be adding a page navigator. You can go ahead and add any icon of your choice or any logo here of your choice. I'll be adding mine. Just any random logo you have, you can add it there. So the next thing we need is we need to add sliders, and we need to also have like a page navigation. Okay. So I'm going to quickly add in a line. I'm going to add in a line here. So this line is going to act kind of like a demarcation. So too bright. So I'll use something darker. Just a subtle. Okay, that works. Control C, Control V. So our sliders will be here, and our page navigator will be here. So we can all mark. I'm going to mark all three of this too visible. Okay, so we can change this to something that's even worse. Let's see. Okay, so we'll have something like this, right? We'll have something like this. The next thing I'm going to do is quickly, I'm going to add our sliders. So what are the sliders we'll be needing? And how do you add those sliders? It's very simple. I'll quickly come here, right? I can come to any pivot table I want, right? I'll go to the pivot table, analyze, and you see insert sliders. So what am I going to insert? We're going to insert the complaint, right? I'm going to insert complaint. All right, so before anything, let me quickly come here and let me add. So this complaint, let me insert. Let's call this complaint. Complaint. So this is going to be if this is equal to 1, comma, yes, else, no. Okay, I can do the same thing again for churn. If this is equal to 1, comma, churn, or we could just use yes, let's use yes, comma, no. And I'll come back here and I'll click on anything, go to pivot table analyze, and I'll quickly refresh all. Because I want to add those 2 columns to our data. Okay. All right. So I'll come to pivot table analyze and we'll be inserting a couple of sliders. So the sliders we'll be inserting, we'll insert complaint. We're going to insert location. We're going to insert gender. And you could add age group. Okay. I'll cut this. And I'll paste it right here. Paste everything. Okay. Paste everything. I will have our age group. So real quick, for complaint, I'll quickly change this to 2 columns. Okay. I'll quickly change this to 2 columns for complaint. And for agenda as well, I'll bring this down. It's taking a little bit over what I planned, but it's going to be worthwhile for you guys, okay? So you can just highlight off of this. I will use align to the left. So all of them will be nice. Now, real quick, for this slicers to work, you need to connect it to all of your pivot tables. So you right click and you go to report connections, right? I'm going to do for only one, but your spare time, because of time, we're out of time basically, you will do the rest. You understand? You tick all of these things to make sure they're all connected. Right? And you hit OK. So this is how you create the connection on there. Okay? You're done. And of course, this looks out of place. So we're going to try and blend this in. So I'm going to quickly grab 2 colors. Let me just grab 2 colors. So I need this color code. Control A, Control C. And also need this color code. Control A, Control C. Okay. So quickly format this. What's the time? Yeah, it's almost 2 hours. I'm really sorry. Almost 2 hours. But we are done. We're basically done. Okay. So I'll come to slicer and I'll right click and I will duplicate. So basically we're going to format this real quick. So for the header, for the whole slicer, we want to format. We can leave this, it as it is. The color we're going to use. So for the font, we're going to use white. For the border, we don't want any border. And for the fill, we'll be using Control A. We'll be pasting this one here. Okay. Then for the header, the field, same thing. The font, we're going to use white. So selected data, selected this data, we don't want any border, but the field will be using this. Okay, we'll be using this. Selected with no data. For the field, we can use maybe black. So unselected items with data. Let's use, so for the field, we can use, I'm going to paste this color there, but okay. I'm going to maybe lighten it. And when you hover, we want the font to be white. We want it to be bold. And when you hover, we want to have like this grayish. And I think that should be all. That should be all. Okay. So I'll come here, come to slicer, and I'll select this new slicer. And just like that, you can see that it has blended in. I will select this, and this. I'll come to the slicer, and I'll select this, and just like that, it has blended in, and you can see. All right. So finally, to wrap this up, our page navigator. This place is for your logo, right? You can add your logo here, whatever logo you want. I'll create one later, and you can add any design element you want here as well. I'll create one later. You guys will see. So for our page navigator, we're going to need 2 text fields, or 4 rather. We'll just copy this CV. So I'm going to leave space for icons so that you can add that one later as well. We're going to need, so this page 1 will be demographics. Control A. Right, this is going to be demographics. Right, this is going to be demographics. Or duplicates. And this would be, our page 2 would be, we could just add others. That's a placeholder. You can use anything you want. I'll work on that later. Also need to duplicate. So here, this will be our analysis. And finally, we'll have our data sets. Right? We'll have our data sets. So I can highlight this. And quickly align to the left, right? And I can distribute vertically. So this is what we have, okay? And for these 3, because these are not active, we're going to use the darker shade for the text. So it's going to look something like this. You understand? And possibly a little bit smaller. Right? Finally, I'll grab this CV. I'll format the shape, and we're going to use this. But the transparency will be roughly I can click on this and we can bring this to front. And I'll grab this and I'll put it. You understand? What's the next thing? I'll click on this. I'll click on this. I'll right click and I will say link. I want to link this to place in the documents, okay? And what are we linking that to? We're linking that to this is our current page, right? You can do the same for the shape as well. So that in case you, okay, you can also do the same for this as well. So we're going to link to this. We're going to link this, right? We're going to link this to the other page. We'll link this. We'll link this to analysis page, and you'll link this to our data sets. Now, we click on this to take it to page 2. We click on this to take you to the analysis. And if we click on this, it will take you to the data sets. So you can do the same thing. You can mark all of this. Control Z. One, two, three, four. No, not that. 5, 6. Control C. Control V. You can drag this and you can fit it in there perfectly. And the only difference you'll be changing here, you come here and you remove the link of this, right? Okay, you can adjust this on your own time to make sure everything aligns perfectly, but you can remove the link. I want to unlink. So I'll drag this to the second page. First things first, I want to bring this to the front. Okay. And then I'll put this. We'll change this back to white. And we'll increase it by 1. Okay. And then we're going to put this over it and we can relink them. Right? We can relink them. So I'll come here. Right click, I will link. This will be the current page. Understand? And for this, just like we did to the other ones, Control A. Sorry. Let me cancel that real quick. Control A, Control C, and then we can change this to this color and we can bring this back by 1. And just like that, if I click on this, it will take me to this page. If I click on this, it will take me to this page. This will take us to the analysis. So can you see? So this is how you create a simple navigation. Please don't forget to create all of those connections on your charts, okay? Then what else? What else? Feels like I'm missing something. So basically, this is how our dashboard will be looking like by the time we wrap it up. Okay, I'll be adding a few more elements to it, but this is how it's looking like, and I believe it's looking really, really nice. So the things left here will just be adding those titles. Because of time, I wouldn't, but like I said, I'll finish it up. By the end of the day, it's not just about building dashboards. Okay, it's not just about building dashboard. What was the whole point of this analysis? The whole point of this analysis was to find out the main reasons why customers were leaving. And if you look at it, the main reasons why customers were leaving is this: it's complaints. So what do you do? How do you communicate this to your stakeholders? Right? It's very simple. So okay, fine. This is what I found out. You understand? Complaints is the reason why our customers are leaving. You can see here that 2,038 persons complained and 100% of them left. What does that? What's the implication of that? That means our customers are having issues. They're not. They're having they're complaining about something, and I'm assuming that thing isn't being sorted out. That's why they're running away. That's why they're leaving the company. So the point is, okay, fine, this is the reason why they are complaining. Unfortunately for us, the data we have here, we don't have the data to actually look at the complaints they've been complaining about. Do you understand? So what do you need to do? What do you tell your stakeholders in this case? You tell them, okay, fine, this is what we're going to do. We found the root cause of them leaving, and that is complaints. If you go through this analysis and if you take your time to read this, which you should, right, there are some in-depth insights there. But the main reason for them leaving is this, right? So now, what do we do? How do you communicate this insight, and what do you tell them to do in this case? You say, okay, fine. Because they're complaining, we need to reach out to our what's it called, our customer care service. We need to find out, okay, what are these customers complaining about? You understand? And the beauty about this analysis is that so a lot of analysis actually will prompt you to make another set of analysis. So this is pushing us directly into another set of analysis, which is we need to pull up the customer complaint data. Do you get? We need to discuss with our stakeholders to pull up this data. We need to say, okay, fine, let's find out, number one, what is the major complaint that our customers are complaining? When the lead complaint to the technical team, was SLA achieved? Were these issues resolved? Do you understand? What was the rating of this conversation or this attempt on these tickets? So by the time we perform this next wave of analysis, we'll actually find out what they complain about, if our customer reps are actually performing their duties. Because if they are not, then you either query or fire some certain groups. Do you understand? But if we find out the reason why they are leaving the company from that second set of analysis, we can now address those issues. So because you've done an analysis does not mean it ends there. The outputs or the insight or the recommendation of an analysis could directly lead you to another group of analysis. So that is all for today. Thank you guys very much, and I hope you guys had an amazing time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. You guys, like a round of applause for Mr. Daniel. 3 hours, Mr. Daniel was here. He sat and he took you through this analysis. Like, honestly, if you do not replicate this dashboard, if you don't follow with everything he has done, it's going to be your loss, because this was too much value, too much knowledge for free, Mr. Daniel. On behalf of the entire community of EDTS, we really do appreciate you, because as a trainer myself, I know what it means to be speaking for 3 hours. I know what is a lot. We really do appreciate you. You guys, you asked for Mr. Daniel, and we brought him, and you can see he over-delivered. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. We're so happy that you came.
Much. Yes. Thank you very much. Please, I want to add one thing before I go. So in this current state, it looks good. Okay, you can add just look for a nice logo, just add it up there and look for something. You'll see mine. I will save this document for you guys. You'll see mine. Okay, but one final thing you need to do to have the speed and response time of your dashboard is very simple. I'm going to do it for one, but you can do it for the both of them. Okay, you right click and you create a copy. Right now, this will take up to 2 minutes. I'm really sorry. Okay, you create a copy. You create a copy. So this is what we're going to do. Right, we're going to take out all of the interactive elements. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things out. So what do I do when you're done designing and everything? We're going to take all of these things We're going to take all of our charts, everything that changes, that reacts to a slicer, right? You take them out. This will help with the speed, okay? Because instead of your Excel loading all of this picture, all of these boxes, all of these things as individual value, we're going to create a snapshot. You understand? So we're going to take, sorry, we're going to take this out. Okay. So you'll be left with this. Okay, finally this. If you're unsure on the size of your canvas, what do you do? Sorry. If you're unsure of the canvas, what do? You can just insert a random shape, right? A random shape. You can zoom out a bit so that you get the actual. So I think, let me take this down to 100%. You can just do this. That's too much. Let's see. It's too much. You need to make sure it's perfectly aligned. Let's see. Still too much. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I can just quickly come here and I can just increase the width till it fits and the height, right? Until the height fits. So what do you know? You take note of your height, 13.6, 13.6 and 26.5, 13.6 and 26.5. So what am I going to do? 13.6, 26.5. I don't want to forget. 13.6, 26.5. So I'll go to sniping tool, 13.6, 26.5, and I'm going to create a snapshot. Right? I'm going to take a snapshot. I'm going to take a snapshot using a snap 13.6, 26.5. I think 13.6 or 26.5. So you take a snapshot of this. Okay. Then you can also come back here. You're going to duplicate again. I'm just showing you guys 13.6, 26.5, I'm not mistaken. This time around. Okay, this is it right here. So this time around, I'm going to take out 13.6, 26.5. Please, somebody should hold that for me. 13.6. Write it down. 13.6. 2.6. 26.5. Okay. What we're going to do now to make sure your work works very fast. This time around, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to take out everything that is static. You start taking them out. You don't want this. What else? What else? The shape gone. That shape gone. There's a shape there gone. So you take out all of the shapes. So we're going to have something like this, right? We're going to have something like this, and we don't need this. So what next am I going to do? I will insert a picture, right, over the cell. Sorry. Over the cell, right? And we'll go to our pictures right there. and we'll grab it. We're going to insert it, right? I'll come to picture formats. We'll go 13.6, if I'm not mistaken. 13.6, right? And we're going to send this to the back. Are you seeing it? We're going to send this to the back. So I forgot to take a snapshot of the titles added to it. But you guys get the gist. So by doing this, instead of it loading all of those shapes, all of these things individually, it's just going to load one picture in the background, hence increasing the speed of your reports. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm done this time around.
It's fine.
Yeah.
We're actually excited, please. We're here to learn, right? So I don't think anybody would have a problem. We're all here to learn. So guys, I want to encourage you all, even if it takes you one full week, don't just replicate this dashboard just for the sake of doing it. So make sure you learn, right? Understand the techniques, read up on it, do your research, understand the techniques for all our projects. Don't just go ahead and just try to replicate, understand the techniques. If you've learned something new, read up on it, do more research on it, and get to understand why and how you can apply it. So I want to thank you once more, Mr. Daniel. We really do appreciate your time and your effort. Yes, it means a lot to us. So guys, when you replicate this dashboard, tag us, tag Mr. Daniel, right? So we're going to be looking out for it. And for everyone who have been sending us feedbacks, messages on how our sections have really helped you grow in your journey, we love to see it. We are here for it. Yes, it makes us really happy to see your post. Yes, it's actually something that brings fulfillment to us. And of course, I believe the facilitators, because when you've done something this amazing, you want to see the people that have been able to reap the benefits, right? Okay, so if you're joining us for the first time, please subscribe and do leave a like and a nice comment for the facilitator. So, Mr. Daniel, I know you're in a hurry to leave because you've tried, but before you leave, please.
Okay. Questions, right?
Yes, a little bit. No, there was no actual question on the comment section. Maybe they'll come much later. So we'll keep checking.
All right.
So we actually wanted to know a little bit about your journey, how you started, and how it's been.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So I've been talking, so I won't bore you guys anymore. So basically, I'm a data analyst, and I kicked off my journey 2 years ago. September will make it 2 years. So in a month's time, the two full years as a data analyst. I have a degree in computer science and statistics, so transitioning was a little bit easy for me because I'm already somebody who has delved into the world of tech. I've played with front-end development, I've played with software engineering and UI UX and all of the rest. So it wasn't really that difficult, although it was, trust me, it was. I put in hundreds, if not hundreds, like over like 400 or 500 hours into this, to get to where I am today. So basically, to God be the glory. I've gotten to a level to the point where you guys are requesting for me. So it's been an amazing journey. I've been working companies. I've had contract gigs, and I'm also developing myself in the act of data engineering because I'll be leaving this one for you guys very soon. I want to go on to other things. So that's where I am currently. I have been able to learn the skills, monetize it, and I'm currently helping companies make faster, better, and smarter decisions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. That's really an amazing journey. So, guys, please, in case you started your journey 2 years ago and you are not where he is, don't go and start killing yourself. Just know that you need to put in more work, right? Because the people will be like, if Mr. Daniel can do this in 2 years, what about me? So the journey can be different for different people, but then use him as an inspiration and know that you can actually get to achieve what you want to achieve if you do the work, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so if you're just finding out about us, please do well to also share the good news of what we're doing here to your friends and your family, to every data analyst out there. And at Evergreen Digital Tech Solution, we train beginners in data analysis and virtual assistants. So if you want premium quality training, the link is in the description. Do well to, register, and we'll reach out to you. And if you already have knowledge, let's say you got training from some other place, or you self-trained and you're not very confident with your skill yet, you need work experience, then you can register for our internship program. It's open to everyone who has prior knowledge of data analysis. So not to make this session any longer than it already is, although it was amazing and totally worth it. Like, this will be the best 3 hours you've spent today for those of you learning. So we're going to wrap it up now. And finally, we're still going to thank Mr. Daniel again. 3 hours is not a joke. So see you guys in the next section. You know how we do it. Every month, sometimes we come 2 times in a month, once in a month, and try to bring projects to you. If there's someone that you would really want to see here on our channel, you can chat us up or join our community and let us know. And you can also go and start bombarding the person's DM, so that when we send the person a request, they'll definitely accept and come online. Just the way you requested for Mr. Daniel, he was kind enough to come here when we spoke to him. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.